My name is Mike Sweeney. I own Light and Images Studio, and I'm bringing you a podcast on how to take better travel pictures. One of the first things we need to talk about is how are you going to carry all this equipment? You can put it in your pocket. I mean, the little point and shoots go into your pocket very nicely, except when you lean over, they tend to fall out. That's a problem. You can put them in your pants pocket. You can get a bag similar to what I have here. This is a small low pro bag. It can hold my D80, which is a digital SLR. It can hold one lens. It can hold the flash. It has pockets to hold a couple of flash cards. It has a little extra room in here that you can see to put a few accessories, filters, spare batteries, and whatnot. The strap is adequate, as you can see, and hopefully you can see this. It's not real padded, but for the type of shooting we're talking about, it'll do fine. This particular bag does have a rain guard that you can see as I pull out that will actually go over the top of the bag and protect your equipment in case of rain, drizzle, snow. And here in Southern California we don't have a lot of that, but I have been in some places where I'm carrying my camera and I do get rained on, and the rain guard is actually pretty handy. Now, another piece of equipment that's almost a requirement is your basic belly pack. This is invaluable. It can hold snacks, power bars, spare batteries, flash cards, small tripods, money, change, ID. The list goes on and on and on. One of these small belly packs, not a big belly pack, but a small belly pack is invaluable. I highly, highly recommend you get one of these. If you're using a point and shoot, you can actually use this as your camera bag also. Let's go over some of the basic equipment. Most of my pictures that you see on my site, I'm using my Nikon. It's a D80. It's a digital SLR, and what I mean by that is, in this case, the lens comes off the camera body. This is not true for a lot of consumer cameras, your point and shoots, but for the mid to high-end consumer cameras, or what you might call a prosumer camera, this is what it's all about. You can actually switch the lens. I have a zoom on this. This is the kit lens, and what I mean by that is this is the lens that actually comes with the camera if you buy it as a package. This is an 18 to 135 millimeter. 18 being a wide angle, 135 being a semi-zoom, but it works pretty well. I have a small point and shoot. This is just your typical little Canon. It's a very small, this is maybe $100 used now. It takes really great pictures. The most important thing, if you're interested in this kind of camera, is this camera can be hacked, and I use that in the good way. And what I mean by that is on the SD card right here, this is your SD card, secure digital card. This is the film that we use nowadays instead of the old roll-up film. But on the SD card is a little bit of code that when the camera boots, it extends the capabilities of the camera. Some of the newest digital cameras like this, the new SD800s, take really fine pictures out of the box. But if you're on a cheap budget, buy one of these used, get a little hack, and I'll talk about the hack in another video podcast and show you how to install it, and go. It's handy. I have my basic flash. You have to excuse my my high-tech mounting that I use for my flash cards and reflectors. Basic rubber band, as cheap as it gets. This is the SB800. This is the high-end Nikon flash for my camera. It works really, really well. It's fully programmable. It has a couple of pro features on it. 50 millimeter lens. This is a lifesaver. Now you might say, well, I remember 50 millimeter lens from my film days and nobody uses them. They're junk. That's not true. This for $100 is one of the best values for a digital SLR you can get. It has a very fast rating on it. This one is 1.8. It goes as low as 1.4 if you want to spend the money. And that brings you about 3 to 4 stops of light over the zoom that we just talked about. In the digital world, this is actually equal to about an 80 millimeter-ish on the old film cameras. So I'd consider it a mild telephoto. It's very small, very light, so you just shaved quite a bit of weight off the front of your camera as you're carrying it around. It could really add up. Again, for $100, 50 millimeter lens is a great investment. This is very useful. This is a basic piece of plastic. It's translucent. I can't really see through it, but it diffuses the light, which is its whole point. when you fire a flash at somebody, poof, you've all seen it, you get that really washed out look, big white spot on the forehead, not a professional looking image. One of these little diffusers can really help you a lot in getting rid of that burned out look. It causes the light to come out in a softer manner, a wider manner, and it's much more even over your subject. This comes with a lot of flashes when you buy them new. If you have to buy this used, that's great. You can buy aftermarket ones. They range anywhere from $5 to $15 depending whose you buy, what brand, and how proud they are of it. Here we are with the flash, and here we are with what looks to be paper. And you're right, it is. It's printer paper. But this will work really great as a diffuser. Remember that rubber band I was telling you about? You basically are going to take this, you're going to put it on your flash, you're going to put the rubber band on it, and as the light goes up, it also goes back, it hits the paper, and reflects out. You get a soft, wide flash that's really good at keeping the burn spots and keeping the people from turning into white zombies. This costs you about a nickel for a piece of paper. The rubber bands are free if you find them on an old newspaper. If you got to buy a box or a couple bucks, this is the way to go for a really cheap diffuser. A couple other things to carry around. Battery for the point and shoot. Always have spare batteries. You can't have too many batteries. On my old Nikon 950, it used AA's. I used rechargeables. On my D80, I almost dropped it. It's a proprietary system, but I bought 3 of them. And when you're on the road or traveling, like on a cruise, when you're on a tour that's all day, it's really handy to have, because Murphy's Law says your battery's going to die in the middle of the tour and you're going to lose all your pictures. So what are you going to do then? Point and shoot, same way. These are very cheap. You can spend $20 for a spare battery, and you're good to go for all day. Spare flash cards. How many people go taking pictures and they say, "Oh, I've got a 4 gig flash card. I don't need a spare card. I can put 3,000 pictures on my card." You're right, you can, until the card breaks and you lose all 3,000 pictures. I kind of go into the school of saying that smaller is better. Not too small, because I hate changing cards too. I'm just like everybody else. But in this case, I buy flash cards in bulk. This is Ride Data. It's a brand name, but it's not necessarily a big brand name that you will find like in Best Buy or some of the other known stores, Ritz Camera, for example. You tend to find these online. Work great. I've never had one of these fail. I have had brand names fail, and it's unsettling. I buy 2 gig flash cards. I carry 5 or 6 of them around. I shoot RAW, and what that means is my camera basically puts the image on the flash card, puts it exactly as it sees it, and then I do all the post-processing myself. They tend to be larger, considerably larger than the JPEG that your typical camera will put on a flash card. Again, that's strictly to get control at the end of the process of shooting my pictures, where I can handle all the post-production myself. If you're shooting JPEG, a 2 gig card will last you a long time. We're talking 300, 400, 500 images, maybe more depending on the camera. I get 150 images on one of these using RAW. If you're shooting JPEG, I'd recommend a smaller card and just swap it a couple times during the day. If a card goes bad, you haven't lost all your pictures of the trip. You've only lost a small selection of pictures. And trust me, after you lose a card, you will really appreciate the fact that you didn't lose everything at once. Not to mention the smaller cards, since nobody wants them. Everybody wants the new, big, fancy, expensive cards. The new little cards, even 2 gig is little now, is pretty cheap. I paid $9 a piece for these. Now, we have some other trinkets. Something you never leave home without when you're traveling. Now, you might ask, what the heck is this? Let me show you what this is. It takes a little bit of time to undo it. This little tripod, woohoo! This little tripod will cost you about $15. As you can see, it folds up into something very small. It's plastic. It's very light. The strap, you might wonder what the heck this is for. You can go up to a round or a square railing, put the tripod on it, put your camera on top here, take the strap and wrap it around, and it's Velcro, so you hook it, and now your tripod is firmly affixed to the railing.